What's going on here? Uh, why am I in this small little box? Man, I try one new thing and things just don't go the way I want them to. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Oh, I need a mic up here. Hey, can you hear me better? Is that better? Um, wow, not prepared for today's live stream at all, but we're glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Batman's here, Logan's here, Ryan's here, Mr. Tex is here. And look at this, Mr. Tex. Thanks for the super sticker. You know what? This is my first. This is my first super sticker, and I'm going to treasure it forever, Mr. Tex. I don't know if I can. I'll have to like screenshot that or something, but thanks. Here's an interesting question right off the bat. I've never thought to ask, but do you read epics and DC Finest as they come in, or do you wait and read back-to-back volumes? The questions are open to everyone. Well, what do you say, everybody? I'll give you a second to answer in the comments. James is here. Rumor is we might see someone famous join King Kurtis. Not today, James. I'm sorry, not today. We're going to try for next week, though. But M. Smith is here. I wonder what the M stands for. Probably like with a name like Smith, an ordinary name like Smith is probably Matthew, right? Phil Owens is here. Hi, Phil Owens and Luciano. Joe Loves Comics. Samantha Jane. Matt H. Wow, we got a lot of people here. Super Jop. Been reading my ultimate epic collections this week to get them out of the way for the book club. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about the book club in just a second. Nathaniel, Thor, Joe, Dr. Zero, Sazmurf. Okay, back to this question here. I read all of my DC Finest as they come in because I got to stay on topic because I'm on the show with Dom on Dom of X's YouTube channel. So in order to be on that show, I need to make sure I'm reading them all. So yes, as soon as they come in, I spend a week reading it. I'm not that fast. It takes me about a week to get through a DC Finest. It takes me about a week, depending on the volume, to get through a Marvel Epic collection as well. So I read all of the modern era Marvel Epics as they come out because I'm so unfamiliar with that era. I just want to gain more knowledge and be more aware of the stories and that kind of stuff. So I've been reading all of those. And then the classic ones, I try to read as much as possible. That doesn't, because Marvel comes out like 2 a week or way more than 1 a week on a regular basis. There always is a backlog, and so I try to get through as many as possible, but sometimes that just doesn't happen. So yeah, and that's part of the reason for doing something like this reading club. It's like let's knock off that pile a little bit. Say you don't have very much time in the day. Issue. I'm just asking you one issue every day, and we'll work our way through the Claremont run, and that's going to be a lot of fun, I think. Yeah, let's see here. Edwin started reading the DC Finest Horror. That's great. Good book. Really like that one. Just ordered my copy of Wounded Wolf. Got to read Love. God Loves, Man Kills. Yeah, good. Wounded Wolf is going to be a popular one, I think, because we're closing in that gap. All of those X-Men epic collections go up pretty fast, and even the reprints go up pretty fast. So don't sleep on those ones. The X-Men ones are always popular. With Clover Press is the publisher that I work for. With Clover doing recent paperback newspaper strip collections like Dick Tracy and The Amazing Spider-Man, any chance we might see Terry and the Pirates in the same format, I'm pushing for it. There's no plans yet on the schedule, but I really do want that one to be in paperback. Phil says, is that Black Panther Epic 2 behind me? No, it's not. It's this one. I got it close on hand because I've been doing some reading. Okay, for those of you who don't know, we are starting, we'll get to unboxing in a minute, but we are starting the Epic Marvel Podcast Reading Club. And let's see here. I got to pull up an image so you can see. We have officially started. We've started on Monday, and the reading schedule is right here. Come on. It's not going to load for me. Um, we are reading through Chris Claremont's run of X-Men, starting at Giant Size X-Men #1 and going the entire 19 years that he did this trip. Did this, not this trip. This, well, maybe he was on a trip when he did it, but um, do the entire run all the way to the 90s. And so here our reading schedule for this week. It's Giant Size X-Men #1 plus X-Men 94 to 99. We're going to do one issue a day, and next week on this live stream, we'll do a roundup of all of the issues that we read in the week, and then yeah, I'll give you the schedule for the next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully, if you haven't started already, you're not too far behind. Just read Giant Size X-Men, which we read yesterday, and then today's book is X-Men number 94, the first regular X-Men issue of Chris Claremont's run. So let's try this and see how it goes. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I've got a lot of people talking about it already online. Follow me on social media and you can join in the conversations. And there's even another podcast that has sprung up called the Marvel Epic Collection Podcast. I know it's a similar name to mine, but they are different podcasts, and they are starting up doing reviews of Epic collections, and it's and they decided they want to jump on this as well. So they're doing little mini episodes, and they're going to post one every day, which is ambitious, but there we go. That's really really cool. Um, I didn't realize you're doing one book a day. That's ambitious. It is. Hopefully, we'll be able to do it. Read Second Genesis for the first time last year. Wow, that's great. Good times. How many days will it take to get through it all, Kurtis? And will we be dipping into tie-in issues if they're relevant to the story? Good questions, Adrian. We are going to only dip into the tie-in issues if they are collected in the Epic collections. So, for instance, there are some in this one Epic collection. There are issues of Iron Fist and there's issues of Marvel Team Up, and we will be reading those in our reading journey. We are going to follow the Epic Collection mapping. So as it's laid out in the Epic Collections, we'll go through one at a time. And let's see, we will. How many days will it take? If my calculations are correct, it's going to take us until July. Believe it or not, it's going to take us till July to get through every single issue. So buckle up, people. Here we go. Joe Loves Comics says it was his first time reading Second Genesis last year too. That's great. I'm glad people are discovering this stuff. That's fantastic. Reese says, if the live streams won't be daily, is there a Discord or another forum for daily discussions for those who are joining the reading club? Yes. Let's see here. You can join my Discord, and you can also join. So maybe James, if you're there, you can post some links in the chat. You can join my Discord, and there is a channel for X-Men where we are doing some discussions, or you can join my Facebook group where people are discussing it too. And any of my social media ones, I'm posting daily. I'm posting which issue we could use, and the discussion follows underneath that picture. Only mods can post links. Sorry, I should make you a mod, James. I don't know how to do that right now, but we'll figure that out another time. I will. I'll find that link for you at some point, and then. But it's just the Epic Marvel Podcast Discord group. Yeah, this reading club is a X-Men again from the start. Great. I read Second Genesis last year. I'll catch up at the start of Proteus, which is only going to be like, a few weeks, because each one of these Epic collections has maybe 20 issues. That's less than a month. So in 3 weeks or so, we'll be on to the next Epic collection already. Kurtis, is that the later printing of X-Men Epic Volume 5 that you have in hand? Because my book has the red letters on the X-Men title, like in the graphic. It's the same inside, you assume? Yes, it is the same. The second printing, or the second edition technically, has this blue spine because if you look closely at the logos, they are a little bit different. The spacing on this one's wider. The tilt, the angle of the letters is a little bit different. This is the title that X-Men had throughout Claremont's run, and the one that you see in red on that image in the center there is how it appeared closer to the 90s and throughout the 90s. Let's see here. First time reading any Claremont X-Men was waiting until the Epics had a good run of subsequent volumes. Well, we have volumes 5 through 13, so that's a pretty good chunk. For those volumes that are not out when we get to those periods, it's just the crossovers like Mutant Massacre and stuff. We'll be able to follow the mapping of, let's say, the Masterworks or something like that in order to fill in those gaps. But it's going to be fun. I tried reading this run a few years ago, but sputtered out after 2 epics or so. Time to try again. Yeah, and this is great because I think we can hold each other accountable. And the thing is, if you fall behind, if you get like a week behind or whatever, doesn't even matter. Just pick up where we are. All of these comics are designed back in the day so that you could jump in at any point. So if you've missed 5 issues or whatever, forget those 5 ones and just pick up where we have left off. And if you want to jump back, then for sure. Okay, Adrian, I'll repeat it for you. There will be weekly live streams. I'm going to use this Tuesday live stream to do a recap of everything that we've read this week, and that's kind of my hub. And I'll be able to take some of the key comments that I see come in through Discord or through social media, and I'll bring them up on in the reading club here. But this is where I plan to share my thoughts and such. Oh, James on Facebook is able to share the link there. Um, yeah, copy down those letters and numbers, everybody. That's the Discord link right there. Um, Perfect. Thanks, James. Okay, so enough of that. Let's just before we talk about epic collections like unboxing, I was at a bookstore the other day and I found a couple of books that I really wanted in my collection and I want to share them here. And I've wanted to try and share a non-Marvel and non-DC book every single time. I have 2 books to share. One of them is a Marvel book though. It's the Gru Dynasty, which collects 4 issues of the Marvel series. And these comics are so funny, and the amount of detail in each one of these drawings is incredible. If you have never checked out Gru, you definitely need to check this out because it's just an amazing book written by Mark Evanier and drawn by Sergio Aragonis. And wonderful stuff. Will this ever see nice collected editions of the entire run? I don't know. They seem to be uh, not moving too fast on that kind of stuff. But they're still making new Gru comics even today, so it would be really nice if we could get some of these back issues collected. So we have to rely on the previous collections, like this one here, the Gru Dynasty. So that's one recommendation. And then the other one is I picked up another volume of Pogo, Simon and Schuster, back in like the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and even 70s. This is how Pogo was reprinted in little paperback pocketbook size collections. And Pogo is a comic strip about a bunch of creatures who live in the swamps in Okefenokee Swamp. And it's humorous. It's has some biting political commentary, and it's just a fun, very enjoyable, and kind of sweet um, comic strip, newspaper comic strip. And I've been collecting these paperbacks, and there's just a few more that I have to do in order to get the full collection there. Will you talk about Giant X-Men #1 today? No, I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to wait till next week, and I'll do a roundup of all of the books that we read this week. But if you do want to hear me talk about Giant X-Men #1, you can search up a different podcast. It's called, get this, the Marvel Epic Collection podcast on YouTube. And yesterday they had me on their show to talk about Giant X-Men #1, so I give some of my thoughts there. Um, I remember reading Pogo in the newspaper strips back in the 70s. Yes, that's right. That's right at the end of Walt Kelly's life there. Yes, for the new issues, they've not committed to ones for collected issues. That's talking about Gru. Yeah, Gru Dark Horse is Gru's current publisher. That's right. Gru reminds me of Hagar the Horrible. There are some similarities, except Gru likes to go into battle. Hagar seems to try and sidestep it when he can. Okay, let's open up a box. And I'm going to cheat a little bit because I've actually already opened it up. Sorry, I didn't wait for you. The reason is last week I only had one Epic collection to talk about, and I knew that there were three Epic collections in this box, so I just wanted to bring one out last week in order to have more to talk about last week. So I've been sitting on these. I haven't looked at them. I've been sitting on these for a week. Just tapped in. What have I missed? Logan, we were talking about the epic, Marvel, the Epic Marvel Podcast Reading Club. And then I also showed off a couple of new books that I have just recently picked up, including this one about Gru. Okay, two epic collections to talk about today. And one of them, they are both classic. It's very, and then the third books that, yeah, the third book that was in this box was also classic. It was the Doctor Doom epic that we talked about last week. It's not very common when we get a week with three epics, and they're all classic era. They're none of them are modern. Okay, this Doctor Strange, Volume 12, collecting Doctor Strange comics from 1994, 1995. Look at that cover. What a great cover that is. Not exactly sure who the artist is on that, but it looks really great. So this has Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme numbers 62 to 6 to 75 plus annual number 4 and Midnight Suns Unlimited number 6. Things get stranger and stranger for the Sorcerer Supreme. Look at that rack right there. That is an amazing set of washboard abs that the Hulk has. Okay. Um, Strangers Among Us. This is a period of Doctor Strange where he's kind of going through a little transformation. Doctor Doom, Sorcerer Supreme. He went back to the little mask that he had right here. He's gonna go through a big transformation where he like wears glasses and has long hair and all of that by the end of the book. But the title wasn't doing well at this point. And so they were trying a few different things to make Doctor Strange a little bit more relevant. And so going back to this costume that he had it briefly in the 60s was one method of doing that. And then the other method is kind of the rebirth he has toward the end of this book here. And I don't know, I'll just show you a little quick pic there, right there. There you go. So yeah, and then so the volume 13 is already out. We already have that one. Let's remind me of what that one's called. It's called Afterlife. Came out a long time ago. We've been waiting for this gap filler volume for a while, and it's finally here. But this is stuff by, let's see here, David Quinn. David Quinn does this volume and the next volume. Dan Abnett does some writing along with Tom Brevoort and Mike Kantarovich. Mel Ruby, Max Douglas, John Hickston, Kyle Hotz, Mark Tenney, Gene Colan. There's a name that stands out among all the rest of them. A bunch of names that we don't recognize, and I think when the title's not doing too well, they're not going to put their like top named artists on the book because they just cost too much and the return isn't enough. So we get some artists that we maybe have not heard a lot about. Oh, Phil says that the Doctor Strange cover artist is Jim Hotson. Thank you. He is very good. Really like that cover. And in fact, this interior art doesn't look too bad either. I like that. I think that looks great. Morbius. Um, it's got a really neat inking style that's reminiscent of something you'd see in Vertigo at the time. So that's kind of cool. In fact, I would say that a lot of this looks like it's influenced by the Vertigo style. I think it gives it a nice kind of gothic look. Doctor Strange at this time was palling around with a bunch of the horror side of the Marvel universe, and so there's some original art. Looks like Namor is going to guest star in this one. This is one that I'm going to have to read right away because I am so unfamiliar with this era of Doctor Strange. But oh, there's Blade and Vengeance. In fact, this probably has. Let's see what the cover is for this one. And there's Wong. Yeah, Strangers Among Us, Act 3 of 4, Part 3 of 4. So that's this. That's the title story right there. Looking like he's getting into some trouble. These are comic. This is uncollected stuff. This stuff hasn't been collected before, so this is all new to collected editions. Um, you'll see it probably pop up on Marvel Unlimited next week, or not. I mean next month. Here's a good question. Nick wants to know: does Doctor Strange give any recap pages from the Siege of Darkness storyline? So let's see. What page is Siege of Darkness on? There's Last Rites. No, there's no Siege of Darkness. That's in the next volume, I think. Maybe. Last Rites is toward the end here. Is that a crossover? I don't even know if that's a crossover. I don't think it is. There's the Hulk. There's a lot of guest stars in this book. Hulk guest stars, Namor, Saad Namorita, um, Clea, of course, is a Doctor Strange regular. Boy, by the end of this book, it's getting to look a lot more 90s, doesn't it? As they get more involved in the computer coloring and such. But yeah, and this has that very early 90s kind of style of coloring. Laris, so and Forge. So is this an X Factor? X Factor shows up. That's kind of cool. Wow, everybody's going to to join in the fun here. I thought Ruby was going to be big. Yeah, he didn't really get to that point, did he? I've only read 3 Doctor Strange Epic Collections. Too bad Volume 9 is out of print. Volume 8 was very good. Um, yeah, my favorite Doctor Strange volumes have been, let's see here, Volume 3, Separate Reality, and Volume 4, Alone Against Eternity. I think those ones have been those were really solid. I love those ones. Um, Volume 5, The Reality War, Triumph and Torment. Yeah, Triumph and Torment was pretty good too. Yeah, as he got through the 90s, as he went on, the stories got a little bit more out there. So it's too bad. Also, removing a suddenly hot creator from a lesser title onto a hotter title, kind of get that. Oh, whatever. Hold on. That's never made sense to me. Surely books that are struggling need the big names on it the most. How else are you going to bring them to sell highly again? Also, removing a suddenly hot creator from a lesser title onto a hotter title. I get that, but still, yeah, it is unusual. You think that you want to put a bigger name on it, but I guess it's too much of a risk. Or do you maximize the returns that you're going to get on an already good title by putting a top name on it? I don't know. I don't know any of those business moves. Nick says Seas of Darkness was issue 60 and 61. So those are not in this book as well. This starts at 62. So in the previous volume, if I were down in my library downstairs, then I would pull them off the shelf and look for you, but someone else will have to do that for me instead. This is the point where I dropped the title. I think a lot of people were doing the same thing. In fact, once it got to a certain point, I think it was bi-monthly, and then they canceled the title and said, what we're going to do is just do like 4-issue miniseries maybe a couple times a year, and I think they did one called Flight of Bones, and then they didn't do any others after that. So they're kinda done with Doctor Strange for a little while. Well, let's see what the other book on the list is. Micronauts Volume 3, This Battlefield Earth. Um, okay, so Phil, what Nick was looking for, he wanted to know if there were recap text, like little text captions at the top of the issues, just to fill in the gaps of what was happening in the other chapters of that crossover. Okay, Micronauts, Volume 3. This is 1981 to 1983, collecting Micronauts 36 to 50. There are 5 volumes in this series in total. The next one is coming out a few months after this, and then the 5th one's coming out a few months after that. They're pumping them out really fast, I guess, to get them all out before their contracts and like their licensing deal expires. So we have this is the ongoing adventures of a team of heroes called the Micronauts, who come from a microscopic universe in the microverse. And yes, they do meet up with a bunch of different characters from the Marvel Universe. The first volume had Swamp Thing. So yeah, X-Men in this one. I'm surprised they didn't put any X-Men pictures like on the back there. And no, unfortunately, the X-Men versus Micronauts series is not going to be collected in these collections, but everything else is. This one is issue 40. Some of these characters are licensed and some of them are owned by Marvel. So you will see these characters pop up, like Bug especially joined the Guardians of the Galaxy in the 2000s. Um, they pop up every once in a while to have some fun and to keep the trademark going, I guess, or something. But characters like Arcturus here, he is a Hasbro owned character, so he goes around to wherever the license happens to go. There's the Avengers. We get some Avengers in this one. I saw Wasp earlier there. And yeah, the living computer. Is this the same living computer as the one that Spider-Man battles in the early Ditko years? Oh, that was called the living brain, not the living computer. So that's a different character. Great cover. Look at that. Really nice. Who is that? Hannigan. Hannigan, the guy who co-created Cloak and Dagger, I think, with Bill Mantlo. What was his first name? I can't remember now. It wasn't Hat, was it? Doesn't say. Oh man, doesn't say. Someone you know in the chat there, you could tell me. Have any epics collected Marvel's black and white magazines? I love an epic of rampaging Hulk. Um, there have been a few instances of the black and white magazines in the epic collections. Most recently, the um, Micronauts Volume 2 actually had had a black and white magazine story, and Morbius had a bunch. Um, what else? I can't remember. Oh, Ed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. Ed Hannigan. Phil knows. Thanks, Phil. Um, there hasn't been a collection that has a significant amount of black and white magazine. I think Morbius might be the biggest one there. So I don't know if we get a whole collection of the black and white stuff, but I would love to see that. It would be great. Because then we could also get like, another volume of Iron Fist that has all of his black and white magazine stuff as well. Oh yeah, Moon Knight had some of the black and white magazine. That's true. Um, Nathaniel says, I am behind on collecting Micronauts. I only have volume 1 so far. There are just too many books coming out to keep up in these last few months. Yeah, that's right. I forget if Moon Knight stories for Rampaging Hulk were included. Yes, they were. The Rampaging Hulk Moon Knight stories are in the first Moon Knight Epic Collection. Um, this book is a lot of fun, or at least the first two volumes are a lot of fun. They it's just they're just kind of one-off adventures. They get into trouble, and there's this one villain here, Baron Karza, who just is like chasing after them constantly the whole time. And and the characters are neat. They all have really unique personalities and powers as well. The powers are kind of downplayed a lot in these books. They focus more on the characters themselves, and it's really neat to see just the interplay through all of them. And some of them are robots, and if it's kind of like when you're reading through the Transformers comics, because it's based on a toy line. Every issue has like a new set of toys, a new oh, Fantastic Four is in this one too. Um, and this one's kind of the same way as you travel along, and every couple of issues they introduce you to a new alien race, a new portion of the microverse that they're exploring and such. And so you just get to go to a whole bunch of really neat, different kind of worlds all over the place. So there you go. Let's see what is in the way of bonus features. We've got original art for one of the pinups. Oh, it's an unused pinup. That's cool. More original art, character designs, lots of Baron Karza stuff. Oh, here's that cover that I like, but the original art. That's awesome. Get to take a closer look at that a little bit later. And wow, and the thumbnail, like the sketch, that's cool too. Some more splash pages, and the Micronauts was direct market, so they had illustrations on the inside covers. Original cover, inside front cover art. I don't know if they're reprinting this stuff in the actual collection. I'm not sure. Color guides, some more unused covers, articles, house ads. There you go. There's a nice little team picture right there of the four main guys without their robot friends. And there we are. Those are the two epic collections we have to talk about today. I don't have any DC Finest to open up. Supergirl should be coming hopefully sometime soon. But yeah, that Doctor Strange stuff is mostly by the creator of Faust, David Quinn, right? Yes, you're correct. That's this volume right here. David Quinn is the guy behind this volume and the next epic collection as well. Um, mm, 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 mm. And D. Marcel is joining us a little late, but we've already been talking for a while now. We have Doctor Strange and Micronauts Epic Collections. These are coming out in the beginning of November. Let me just get that date for you here. November 9. Nope, November 11. It's coming out November 11. Doctor Doom, Micronauts, and Doctor Strange. They're all coming out on the same day, November 11. That's an expensive day, everybody. Wow. Um, but yeah, that's all we have to talk about today. I hope that everybody is going to read some X-Men comics. And that, yeah, Phil has a good question. Has anyone read X-Men 94 today? I read it. I read it at the dentist. I was at the dentist this morning and I brought the book so that while I was sitting in the waiting room, I could read it. And that is exactly what happened. Um, so take some time. The Especially in the 70s, the page count was lower, so it's a pretty quick read to read through those issues. Just one issue every single day for the X-Men Reading Club. And yeah, I'll put the schedule on here again. And this is what we're going to read throughout this week. And then next Tuesday, um, we are going to start our live stream with a little recap of the week's worth of comics. And I'm going to bring on the show Phil Owens. Phil Owens is going to be giving me a recap alongside me. We'll both be here talking about these X-Men comics, and we can't wait to see all of your comments and your thoughts as well. This is going to be super fun. Okay, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Um, I'm already behind. Yeah, you know what? That's okay. Like I said, if you fall behind, doesn't matter. Just forget the issues that you fell behind with, and just start wherever we happen to be. And if you want to catch up, that's great. But just jump right in, because that's the nature of comics in the 70s, is that it didn't matter where you are, just jump right in and enjoy the ride. So there you go. Yeah, see you next week as well. It's going to be a good week. Everyone's going to have fun reading X-Men, and yeah, it's going to be a good week. Thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you have a really good evening. Read some more comics. See you later, everyone.